On this one, what happened is that you have to do times before you do anything else. So 3 plus 8 plus 1 would be 12. Answer to this one should be 13. Answer to this one should be 28. You have to do 6 times 2 first. Or not 6 times 2, but 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then you have to multiply by 3 to get 9. Add 5 and get 14. You have to do 1 plus 1 to get 2. And keep the 2 where it's at. Then you have to do 2 squared. That's 4. And then 3 times 4 is 12. Then you do 2 plus 12 is 14 minus 3 is 11. Pick a number from 1 to 5. Put your last name on it. Today's objective will be long division. Here's example 1. I'm dividing 8 into 733. My first move has to be putting a decimal point down here and 1 directly above it, putting 2 zeros because we're rounding to the 10th place. What's my first move to divide this? 8 will not go into 7, so we have to try it into 73. How many times will 8 go into 73 without going over? Can you get another 8 between 64 and 73? 9 times, yeah, so we'll go 9 times for 72. And when we subtract, what do we get? 1. Now what do we do?
You bring 3 down.
How many times will 8 go into 13? Once. What do I write? 8. And what's 13 minus 8? What do I do next? Just 1 0. How many times will 8 go into 50? 6 times. And what do I write? 48. And what's left over?
2.
Now what? How many times will 8 go into 20? 2 times? Yep. We're rounding to the 10th place, which is right here. So what do I look at?
62.
The 2. Is the 2 5 or higher?
No.
So if it's not 5 or higher, then what do I write for my final answer?
20.
Not 20.
63.
No, my final, this is the number we're rounding to the 10th place up here. 91.6. You drop the 2 because you're rounding to the 10th place. This was less than 5, so the 6 does not go up. It should be 91.6. In this number, I'm going to round to the 10th place. What should the final answer be? 312.6. We're rounding to this place, so you look at that number. If it's less than 5, this one stays the same, and you drop everything else after it. What about this number? Rounded to the tenths place. 2.7. You're rounding to this place. This is higher than 5, so you bump that one up 1 and drop everything else after it. Rounding to the hundredths place. Nope. Rounding to the hundredths place. The hundredths place is this.
340.5.
Here's the decimal point. Rounding to the hundredths place is what? How much? 3.46. Yes. Rounding to the hundredths place. 9.12. Yes. This is the ones place, just to the left of the decimal point. What place is this? Not the tenths or the thousands. Hundredths place. THS. What place is this? Hundreds. With just an S. What place is this?
The tenths.
Not the tenths. Thousands. What place is this? Tenths place. THS. What place is this? Tens. Okay, we just did version 1 of a short quiz over decimal places. On number 1, the tenths place is here, so that should be C. 2 is the 100ths place, and that is E. 3 is the ones place, that's D. 4 is the thousands place, that is F. And 5 is the hundredths, that's B. 6 is the tens place, that would be A. What we just did was version 2 of the decimal place quiz, and the answers on this one should be B, A, C, E, F, and D. Here's a review of what the decimal places are. Here's the decimal point. This is the tenths place. And this is the hundredths place. And at the end there would be the thousandths place. To the left here you have the ones, the tens, and the hundreds. They don't change. They're always in that order. But if you get a quiz in which this is A, F, C, B, E, and D, then you just have to match them up. This does not change. Give this a try and drop it off up here. 7 divided into 935. And you're going to round you're going to round to the hundredths place. Whatever place you're rounding to, you have to divide out one place further than that so that you can round. On the practice problem, here's the decimal point. Put it straight up top. You're rounding to the thousand, or not the thousandths, but the 100th place. So that's 2 decimals beyond the decimal point, but if that's where you're rounding to, you must go one more beyond that. 7 goes into 9 one time. when you subtract, you have 2. Drop the 3. 7 into 23 3 times. 2 left over. Drop the 5. 7 into 25 3 times. And that's going to be 21. 4 left over. Drop the 0. 7 into 40 5 times. 5 left over. Dropping that 0. 7 into that 7 times for 49. 1 left over, and you drop that last 0, and 7 goes into it once. So you're rounding to the hundredths place. It's this place here. The number to the right of it is 1, so that means the 7 does not change. Your final answer is 133.57. On the first one, 4 divided by 2 is 2, times 5 is 10, and then 6 times 2 is 12, divided by 4 is 3, so that one is 13. This one is 9 plus 20 minus 6. That's 29 minus 6, which is 23. On the practice problem, 4 will go into 9 twice, which is 8. 1 left over. Drop the 3. 4 into that 3 times for 12. 1 left over. Drop the 2. 4 goes into that 3 times. With nothing left over, drop the 4. 4 into 4 1 time. And that's it. It doesn't go any further than that. It says to round to the tens place, but if you can't make it out there, then the answer is simply 2, 3, 3, 1. On the bonus problems, the first one should have been 5, and the second one 14. On the first one, 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 squared is 0. Times 3 is still 0. So plus 2 is 2, minus 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 3 is 5. And down here you have 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 6 is 18, minus 4 is 14. On the practice problem, 3 goes into 5 once, with 2 left over. Drop the 1. 3 into 21 7 times, with nothing left over. Drop the 0, and you still can't do 3 into 0, so put a 0 there. And then drop the 6. 3 into 6 twice. On the bonus problems, the first one should be 17, second one is 57, and the third one is 80.